What is going on, guys? DragonTamerBlayde here, back with a card reveal for the upcoming Moons of Elsweyr expansion, coming June 27th. So exactly 2 weeks from this date, actually. So pretty hyped for that. Again, as always, thank you very much to Bethesda, Sparkypants, everyone for allowing me to take part in the pre-release hype. But yeah, let's not waste your guys' time anymore, because I know some people just want to see the card and don't care about me talking. But that's how this thing goes. I'm going to show the card, and then I'll go ahead and talk about my thoughts and different ways to use it. So here's the card on the screen. It is Glacial Dragon, a 6-cost legendary dragon, 4/5 in stats, with the ability Shackle enemy creatures damaged by friendly dragons, and also the summon effect of deal 2 damage to a creature. So you can deal 2 damage to an enemy creature, and in that sense it operates very much like Icy Shambles. We'll bring that up as an example. It's a 4-cost 2/3 that shackles enemy creatures that are damaged by it. Where are you? Right here. However, I think Glacial Dragon's actually better, and I mean, the rarity is much higher, so it makes sense. For 2 costs more, you're getting +2/+2 in stats, so that's pretty even. And not only does Glacial Dragon shackle any creatures that it damages, so they both have the instant shackle aligned, but also Glacial Dragon gives the ability to your all friendly dragons, whereas Icy Shambles is just Icy Shambles itself. Icy Shambles is hard to say over and over again. But this is the most direct comparison. It deals 2 damage, so if it doesn't die, whatever it hits, it will shackle. But additionally, let's take a look at all the different dragons that can now benefit from this. Because again, all friendly dragons. And I think that's kind of key, actually. Because most dragon decks, because dragons in general are pretty expensive, have to be, at worst, or at best, depending on how you look at it, slow mid-range decks. But typically they're slower control decks. You're using things like your lookouts, either Blaze Lookout to keep drawing, or Wilden Lookout to heal. And you're just going to play your big dragons eventually, try and take over the board, play your Alduins, your Odavings, your Parthenax, and just kind of gain control of the board that way. But one of the biggest problems is surviving long enough, or surviving against wide boards, because you're usually playing one big dragon per turn. And if your opponent gets a wide board, sometimes they can kind of just overrun you. Now with Glacial Dragon, you have something as tiny or as small as a 2-cost tiny dragon that deals 1 damage to everything, and everything that doesn't die in that lane is now shackled. That's a 1-lane Winter's Grasp. That's pretty solid. Or Wildfire Dragon will shackle all enemy creatures. And the thing to keep in mind is, it's not just all creatures damaged by friendly dragons. It is only shackling enemy creatures. So even if Wildfire Dragon damages your own creatures, they will not be shackled thanks to Glacial Dragon's targeted ability, which is pretty sweet. So we've got some kind of AoE shackle damage now available with a 2-card combo, and Wildfire Dragon just happens to come right after Glacial Dragon on the curve, so it can be a kind of good one into the other type of play. Let's keep taking a look at some of these dragons and see how we can go from here. Nothing really in intelligence. Besides, obviously, you don't have to have AoE abilities. So, like, Mystic Dragon can just swing into something. And if that something survives and takes damage, the creature will still be shackled. So it doesn't have to be abilities. Just abilities are some of the easier ways to trigger and get that instant shackle off without having to wait a turn to swing. And pretty comparable card. I know Justin Larson was pretty passionate about how close Icewing Dragon was to being constructed playable. And I think Glacial Dragon is kind of like that playable version of Icewing Dragon. So the stats are pretty comparable. Icewing Dragon's 6/4, Glacial Dragon's a 4/5. So Icewing Dragon gets a slight edge in stats. However, Glacial Dragon's ability damages and shackles, whereas Icewing Dragon's just shackles. And then you've got the passive or the aura effect on Glacial Dragon. So I think we finally got that playable version of Icewing Dragon that Justin, and I agreed with him for basically as long as I've heard him talk about it. The playable version of this card. Let's take a look at some other cards. Things to keep in mind. Karthspire Scourge. Yes, it gives -1 attack, but that does not count as damaging a creature, so this will not trigger Glacial Dragon's ability. Again, something to keep in mind. Similarly, Shearpoint Dragon will not trigger. Yes, it reduces the health, but a wound is not a damage. It is not the same thing. So Shearpoint Dragon will not trigger Glacial Dragon's ability from the summon effect, but again, Shearpoint Dragon can trade into things and shackle that way. You got your regular green dragons going on over here. I think those are all the AoE dragons besides one that has not seen like any play ever. This could be the card that Frostscale Dragon needs to finally be relevant. I'm still not super convinced that Frostscale Dragon becomes completely playable thanks to Glacial Dragon. However, between Glacial Dragon and Calgronteed, I think that's what the card's name was, that unique legendary willpower dragon, being able to summon any non-unique dragon from your deck with that support, maybe Frostscale Dragon has finally become playable. Frostscale Dragon deals 4 damage to a creature and then 1 damage to all enemy creatures, and with Glacial Dragon on the board will shackle everything remaining. So it's a 9 cost, 6/6 in stats, probably remove 1 creature and shackle all other creatures. That's pretty good, but yes, it requires Glacial Dragon being on the board, but still, Glacial Dragon finally getting a little bit of that hopes and dreams. And finally, you've got your Clockwork, Oda, Parth, and Alduin. As far as dragons go, Alduin doesn't synergize with Glacial because Alduin kills everything anyway. Parth doesn't damage anything directly. It can just kind of draw you some fire breaths and stuff like that. Odahviing, unlikely that you're going to have many things surviving a 4 damage AoE. But again, Odahviing is a 12 cost, 10/10. Kill most of the board, shackle whatever's left. So there's a lot of synergy between these dragons and Glacial Dragon. And again, otherwise, you're just kind of playing stuff that you can slow your opponent down, whereas you couldn't before. So now even something like, for example, your Nahagleave, or just any dragon in general, because it doesn't say that you have to attack either. So if an enemy creature trades with one of your dragons and survives, they will still be shackled. It doesn't have to be on your turn. So now you activate a summon ability, you can trade into a creature, or a creature can trade into you, and in all 3 of those situations, you will actually trigger the shackle ability. So you got a lot of different ways to do it, and I think it's going to be a really big boost for dragon decks. Like, I know it seems pretty small, just like, oh yeah, you know, shackle's a thing, it's pretty good. But those mid-game turns are the most important turns for dragon decks, kind of stabilizing, building their board, and working onto those big end-game swing plays, or getting those big dragons onto the board. So even if you're not necessarily shackling all of your enemy creatures, which is still a logical and realistic possibility, even if you're just shackling something here or there that you otherwise would not have been shackling, that extra turn or 2, or maybe even more than 1 or 2 turns it buys you, can be enough to win you that game. So I think this is a huge boon to dragon decks, either 2 or 3 color dragon decks as well. I don't think it really matters. I think it's going to be a huge boost. Obviously, the best cards for this to work with are things like Tiny Dragon, Wildfire Dragon, and Frostscale. So you've kind of got like a play into a sort of Dragon Battle Mage-ish type of thing with these 2, plus the Frostscale, plus Glacial Dragon. However, you may want to look into throwing in some willpower, whether it's you play Dragon Battle Mage or not, because that Calgronteed can be very interesting. Because again, it says summon a non-unique dragon, not non-legendary. So you can pull Glacial Dragon with the, I forget the full name of it, but the Hall's support. You can pull Glacial Dragon. You can pull whatever dragon you need to enable these synergies. You've basically got a dragon toolbox now. So that seems really, really powerful and really, really cool. It's like a dragon guildsworn type of thing. And whether you have Wildfire Dragon in hand or Glacial Dragon in hand, the turn after you play Calgronteed, if the support doesn't get removed, you can summon one with the support and then summon the other from your hand. So you have the way of always making sure that you have exactly whatever dragon you need in your hand. And yeah, the shackle is going to go a long way with keeping you alive, allowing you to find your lookouts to heal or draw cards or do whatever you need your lookouts to do. I think this is a huge card for dragon decks. The more I think about it, the more I get excited about using it, because I think it's going to be amazing for dragon decks. And maybe enough to finally push one into being like competitively viable. Like, I know for a short time Dragon Archer was like on the cusp, maybe even in there. But we haven't had a dragon deck since Shout Scout be like in there. So I'm excited to see what Glacial Dragon can do. Not to mention, I think the premium of this card is going to be absolutely gorgeous. If there's like a really cool ice effect coming out of his mouth there, I think it's going to be absolutely sick. But yeah, that's going to be it for now, guys. Let me know what you guys think of the card down below in the comments section. Let me know if there's any synergies that I missed, or what types of decks you guys are planning on using it in, whether it's Battle Mage, Guildsworn, or other. I'm excited to hear what you guys think down below in the comments section. I actually think there's a couple people on Reddit who almost guessed exactly correct on the ability. Nobody got the aura effect of dragons damaging can shackle. However, there's a lot of people that guessed the 2 damage and it being shackle related. So a lot of good guesses on your guys' part, so good job. But yeah, thank you guys all very much for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.